So I collect things from people when they don't realise. Don't be too afraid. I'm not a thief, okay? It's not like I steal, I promise. It's more that I pick up some things that get left behind, get dropped, the kinds of things that you wouldn't even miss. It began in childhood. Every time my family moved house or we went on holiday, I was so excited to go exploring every nook and cranny, the far corners of every cupboard, under every drawer, even around the edgings of the gardens, because I was looking for things that had been left behind. It wasn't money or jewelry I was looking for. More like small keepsakes of people I didn't know. I felt kind of like an archaeologist, searching for clues, piecing together stories. I often found things like a lot of buttons. I found many buttons. Sometimes there were toys, like small toy racing cars or one of those green soldiers. Sometimes there was a hair clip. And even though these things were junk, generally, in my hands they felt kind of precious. Someone had loved this once. And even though I didn't know the person who dropped these things, I didn't know where they were, their age, their name, I felt connected in a way, and I wondered about them, where they were at that very second. What were they thinking? What were they feeling? Were they happy? Sometimes I'd make up possibilities for them. What would be their greatest successes? What would be their biggest regrets? I had a lot of time on my hands, okay? So I still collect things. Now as an adult, I'm probably still often more interested in things that might be, worlds that might be, rather than the world that actually is. But recently, I have to confess my collection interest has taken an unexpected twist, because now I collect shopping lists. I didn't mean to. It started the way that collections generally start, with a single item found. So a few years ago, picked up a shopping basket, and rather than ignoring that small scrumpled piece of paper, I decided to open it and read it. And there's nothing creepy about it. Can I just assure you this? Like, it's nothing weird. Please, don't be afraid of me if you ever see me in a supermarket. It's not like I just loiter around supermarkets or rummage through bins, okay? I don't creep up behind people and snatch shopping lists from their hands and run away maniacally laughing. It's more, if I find one, I claim it. So there's nothing weird about it at all. So that first day, still, maybe you're not convinced, maybe soon you will be. The first day started off this collection for me. And I'm going to show you that first list that I found. So let's have a look. This is what was in the shopping basket. Veg chips, scourer, donuts, milk, shapes, paper towels, no, crossed off, paper towels written by someone else, and then oil spray written by someone else. And so I read this. Of course, I realized, as you are now, there are 3 people writing this. A child, perhaps, who's learning to spell, helping out with the shopping list chore, and 2 other people, perhaps adults. And it got me wondering about this family. Is it a family? Who is this child? Male, female, how old? And it got me wondering about, what were they shopping for? Was it just a general shopping list, or was there going to be a birthday party? Perhaps there was going to be some kind of barbecue. So that was my first. There's been a number since. This is another, I think, a barbecue shopping list. Tenderloins, T-bone times 2, prawn. 1 prawn. Okay, this could be just, a slip of the pen, not really checking your work, but prawn? I thought, is this guy really stingy here? I'll have that one. Or is there some giant prawn I don't know about that can feed a family? And so I do love finding spelling errors, I must admit. So I had a bit of a chuckle about that one. So cherry tomatoes, capsicum, other things that you might have getting ready for barbecue. This is something for a different occasion altogether, I believe. We start with wine, a tissue box. Who buys tissue box covers these days? I don't know, but this guy, and I'm generalizing here on the handwriting, tissue box cover from Things, red tea lights, Diet Coke, 2 red no, already got them, red tea lights, and a power board and cord. And I guess when I found this list, I was thinking about this guy, and I think he's got a date coming over for the first time, and he's setting the mood. With the wine, covering the old tatty tissue boxes, obviously. That's a tip for you all, apparently. And then, of course, it got me thinking, well, who's that lucky girl going to be? And what's going to happen? Okay, again, I don't have much to do with my time. I get all kinds of lists. Some of them are quite standard, like this, blueberries, popcorn, etc. But then occasionally I find something like boy's toothbrush, which makes me think, is there a girl's toothbrush and a boy's toothbrush? I did not know that. This is in very scrawled, messy handwriting, of course, and that's fine. I just read through that. And then again, the bottom one caught my eye. Guatemala, in capitals. Ice, milk, olives, biscuits, lamb, and Guatemala. I don't know if this person, these are real people, I don't know if this person just couldn't spell guacamole, or the shopping list suddenly inspired him or her to just really want to travel to a Central American country. So it got me thinking about that. I hope no one ever finds mine and analyzes them. And then I come across something completely different like this. The paper, you can see, instantly sets a tone. Then we've got 1 times 2 litre Hale milk browns. 2 times boxes of tissue sorbent thick large blue. Because we all need blue tissues. 1 tube of Voltaren Amol gel or Osteogel, 4 potatoes and 2 carrots. Very particular, and it, again, generalising, I thought this is a woman, maybe of a certain age, who really likes things done just so. And I'm thinking perhaps, because I don't normally write this much detail, but perhaps this one particular day she's at home, she can't go to the store because maybe she's got a sore back, hence she needs the Voltaren gel. So she sends off her long-suffering hubby to Coles with this list. And then I imagine him wandering around the aisles looking for blue tissues and selecting 2 carrots. I love the imagery in that. To start with, who writes a list for 3 things? Can you remember 3 things? Baby powder, chocolate in general, M&Ms in specific. And at first thought, I thought, oh, it's a first time mum. And then I thought, no, it's a first time dad. Okay, my wife needs baby powder, but I really think she needs some chocolate as well. And some M&Ms, which was really sweet. And then I come across things I don't really understand because it's written in French. And I just love the language and the handwriting. But again, it allows me to romanticize in a way and to wonder about these people. To be clear, my novels aren't about groceries. That would be boring and pretty strange. I don't use these lists as content for my books. What they are is a fascination, a curiosity. They're an unexpected, surprising glimpse into someone else's life, someone in the real world, because that's where creativity happens. Creativity doesn't take place in a quiet room with a big wooden desk and an old-fashioned typewriter, lots of cups of coffee, dreaming up fantasy. That's not real. Creativity happens in a world that's messy and noisy and unpredictable and uncensored. Often it starts with the smallest of things, like a small thing found. It can be a line of dialogue that you overhear. It can be a sound that doesn't belong there. Sometimes it's witnessing a snapshot of someone else in a moment, and just someone in a moment that makes you stop and can break your heart or can fill it. Creativity starts from seeing the significance and the beauty in ordinary small things and then wondering where they might lead. Basil, coriander, garlic, ginger, Lebanese cucumber ×2, broccoli, cherry toms. Not cherry tomatoes. I love it, cherry tomatoes. It's gorgeous. Sometimes I have almost a sense of melancholy for these people I don't know. And I can even get a little bit protective. Are they happy? I want them to be happy. Because even though they're so different from me, and I don't know their real lives, and I don't know their situation, and some of them might want Lebanese cucumbers, and some of them might want blue tissues, once I start reading between the lines, I begin to see that we're not so different after all. All of us, we're made of the same stuff. We're made of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen. We've all got a pulse and an expiry date. We're all flawed, we're all quirky, we all have spelling mistakes, but we're all hopeful. We all want the best for our lives. We're all so desperate to be happy, but we don't always know how to be. So we go around doing dumb things and repeating stupid mistakes and filling our lives with groceries and chores, when what we really want is assurance that our lives matter, that we're good people doing good things with this amazing gift we've been given. I'm often asked how I write such believable teenage characters in my books. Well, despite the obvious differences, the age, maybe sometimes the language and taste in music and the hormones, I think we're all the same. We're all silly, we're funny, we're brave, but all of us we're flawed and we're vulnerable and we're fragile. No matter what age you are, we still need to be treated gently. So treat each other gently. But passion? Come on, I'm not passionate about shopping lists. Goodness, they're not that important to me. They're, like I said, they're a curiosity, they're a spark, but passion isn't something that you can find in a shopping basket. Passion isn't something you can find anywhere at all. It's not like a truffle waiting to be sniffed out or a treasure hidden in the sand. Passion is where it always was, and that's inside each of you. It's that thing that you had as a baby that made you want to reach out and touch the world, that made you speak your first words. Passion's that thing you had as a child that made you want to jump out of bed, that desire for discovery, the wonder of being alive, the joy of all the things you didn't know. Passion's what made you ask question after question, even though there might not be an answer, even though there might be thousands of answers. And the truth is, you are still that same self. You haven't grown up. You haven't grown out of a child. You haven't grown into an adult. There is no such thing. You just grow taller and wider. But you're still that same child self. And if you're lucky, you always will be. The way that I'm still my child self, the way I still pick things up that I find, turn them over in my hands and wonder. I daydream. I think about who, and then I think, what could become of this? And I get excited about those infinite possibilities. Living your passion isn't easy. I remember when I was 17, and everyone kept saying to me, what are you going to do? What are you going to do after school? What are you going to do for career? What do you want to be? Oh man, I hated that. I'm like, shut up. I don't know what I want to be. I'm 17. I don't know the world. I don't even know myself. It's so unfair for 17-year-olds to have to choose one thing to be. It was the worst pressure. I hated it. But there I was, sitting with my university entrance form in front of me, and I had to fill it in. I had to choose the thing I was supposed to be. And it felt that whatever I chose, it meant that there were so many other things I couldn't choose, and I would never get to be, I'd never get to explore those things. And as I sat there with the form, I could almost feel that my life in front of me, my future, was narrowing. It was constricting into this, like train tracks moving into the distance. Oh, I felt so claustrophobic about that, about choosing something. As if your life can only tell one story. But now, I've been lucky to, I guess, change my mindset into what I think life looks like. And that's my first day of school. Life does not start narrowing the first time you make these choices, which subjects to study, which group you're going to hang out with. Life does not narrow like train tracks into the vanishing point in the distance from left to right. Likewise, life does not look like this. And sorry to all of the English teachers out there, but most stories don't really look like this either. This is the structure of a short story, apparently. Life does not go from left to right in a black line with well-plotted problems, complications, and climaxes, and then resolutions and your death. Stories don't look like that, and neither does your future. The way I see the life in front of me now, and you, it looks a bit more like this. Because I think our futures are kind of like the universe that keeps expanding, keeps moving outwards. Every time you have a choice, it doesn't move you from left to right in a solid black line. It moves outwards into other choices. And every time you make a choice, it opens up into more choices and into more. And the possibilities are endless. That's how I feel when I live my passion. That there's no dead end. There's no mistakes even. There's no vanishing point. There's just more and more options. And when you live your passion, there is time to tell many stories. There is time to be many things. Living your passion is hard, especially when there are so many voices. Voices of reason, and voices of common sense, and voices of economics, and voices of failure. Because society isn't very comfortable with viewing life moving like this as a three-dimensional, ever-expanding object, a concept. I think in our society, people are more comfortable with viewing your future as the solid black line from left to right with well-organized milestones along the way. Yes, it is hard to live your passion, but you know what I think is harder? To wake up one morning in your 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s or beyond and feel claustrophobic in this life you have because it's narrowed so much that it's closed in around you. And you feel like you don't have choices anymore and you don't have anything worth jumping out of bed for. That is the greater tragedy. I don't know what your passion is. You probably don't either, and that's okay. I reckon it's already inside you. It's hard to hear it though. It's hard to hear it with all of those voices. It's hard to hear with the chatter of social media and the television and your smartphones. And you need to be quiet. You need to spend some time alone. You need to connect with nature, all right? You need to go that vast ocean, that endless ocean. Go swimming in it. Go snorkeling. Watch the way the fish move in the currents. Not fighting, but going with it. Go walking in bushland. Oh, like step over roots and leaves and sand and dirt. Step over step until your mind is still. You need to be quiet. And then you need to, at night, look up at that wide screen of the sky and look at it with wonder. That ever-expansive universe. And remember that you're still your child self and that the possibilities are infinite. So, I collect things. Yep. I collect shopping lists because every shopping list is a reminder that we're all connected. We're all silly, we're all flawed and funny, but we're all kind of the same. And every small button that I find is a reminder that, and every small thing, and every small moment, there are infinite possibilities. There are so many stories that could be told. That's what I'm passionate about. I love that our futures have not been written. I love that our trajectories are still unknown. I love not knowing. There is such beauty in not knowing. Every time I start a new novel, I'm so excited. I don't know what's going to end, how it's going to end. I don't know what's going to happen in the middle. I'm excited about the beginning, and I write it because I want to find out what's going to happen. I've heard other authors say, write what you know. That's boring. Write what you don't know. Write what you want to know. Write what intrigues you. And if you don't write, transfer that to anything in your life. Do what you don't know. Do what you want to know. Do what intrigues you. Do the thing that makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning. And don't be afraid if you don't know the answers, the way that I didn't know at 17. Do what you care about, and it'll work itself out. Keep in mind that in the universe, 95% of what's out there is dark matter and dark energy. And we don't really know what they are. We don't know. But that's okay. It's nothing to be afraid of. I find it really exciting, actually, because it means that anything is possible. In a way, I think we are all small, lost things. But in each of us, we are buzzing with so many stories and with infinite possibilities. Thanks.